What is up everyone, Mark here. Welcome back to my channel, welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to be going over my top 10 for Eurovision 2023 semi-final 1, and these are my qualifiers for semi-final 1. Before we begin, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help support the channel. As of the time of recording, we are only 16 subscribers away from 1,000, so any support you can give really helps. Also, I have an updated Patreon, which I will show here, so if you want to donate or support in any way, I would really appreciate it. So with that said, let us move on to my number 10 spot, which is Malta. As I've said in previous videos, the song itself, I'm not such a big fan of, to be honest. I think it's a good song, but it's not one that I find that interesting. The lyrics I feel like are a little bit basic and are just missing a little something, but the staging and that performance was so top-notch, so creative, and honestly just so unique that this song has to qualify for me. This really stands out in the competition. I mean, look at this staging, right? Nothing else is really quite like this, so I do have really high hopes for this one in Liverpool. I feel like if they just keep a lot of the elements they had in their MESC performance, then they are going to do very well in ESC. And I also hope they keep the cutouts and the party hats and everything. Again, the performance is fun, the staging is great, and the song itself is not my thing, but for me, the staging and also the lead singer's charisma mostly outweighs that, and so for me, the song will get an 8.5 out of 10, and it's definitely one of my qualifiers for semi-1. So with that, let's move on to my number 9 spot. This is the song Aya by Sudden Lights, and this is a very subtle entry, and one that I'm not sure that everyone will appreciate on first listen, but it's one I like a lot, and one that has grown on me over time. The only reason this song is not as high as my other qualifiers is just because I'm not sure if it's really as strong as my top 8 are. It's still a great song though, and has some great elements. Again, I love the guitar solo and that language switch towards the end. Again, I am a big indie rock fan, and this song I feel like you can kind of classify under that umbrella, so I do like a lot about it. But overall, I just feel like my top 8 have a lot more impact for me, or a lot more memorable, and just stand out more, and for me, this song will get a 9 out of 10. With that, let's move on to my number 8 spot on this list, which is Unicorn. What a great song. I mean, this is definitely more of a pop track, and I know I've said in the past that I'm not a big fan of those types of songs, but this one really worked for me for some reason, and I think it's because it incorporates a lot of different elements, like the dance break, like those ethnic elements, like that switch to Hebrew towards the end, that I really like a lot and that I appreciate in music. And this song also is just so much fun to listen to. I absolutely love the song structure, the way it catches your attention from the first second, and Noah just has some fantastic vocal moments here that I hope she's able to translate to the Liverpool stage. So for me, Unicorn will get a 9.5 out of 10. And as you'll see here, a lot of my favorites are in the semi-final, so it is going to be a lot of 9.5s and 10s out of 10s from here on out, so just get ready for that. I really think semi-final 1 is bringing the heat this year, so without further ado, let's get to my number 7 spot, which is the Czech Republic. This is Vesna, My Sister's Crown. This song has so much going for it. One of the things I love the most about it, that I've said time and time again, is that I love the use of all the different languages. I mean, the use of Bulgarian, Ukrainian, Czech. This really feels like a celebration of Slavic culture, and that really is the major thing I like about this song. I feel like beyond that, the song is fun to listen to. I do listen to it quite a bit. It's very fast-paced, very dynamic. All these singers have such great voices. Even the rap, which I'm not such a big fan of, sounds great. And I also did appreciate their performance in ESCZ, even if it didn't have the best production value. I mean, they were working with what they had, and I think they did the best they could with it. The thing is, even though I like this song a lot, I don't feel like I click with it as much as the other 6 songs on this list. So for me, I'm going to give this song a 9.5 out of 10. Still a fantastic entry and one of the best that the Czech Republic has ever sent. But right now, I feel like a 9.5 out of 10 is a pretty good spot to give it. So with that, let's move on to my number 6 spot, which is Mimicat with the song Ai Coração. This is Portugal's entry, and what a fantastic song. I have actually been a big fan of this song from first listen. When I first heard the song, it was one of these studio tracks released for Festival de Canção, and I was very impressed with it. It had a lot of traditional elements, it sounded very unique to Portugal, it was sung in Portuguese, and it also had that phenomenal high note at the end, so I was really intrigued by this song, and I did of course have some concerns that Mimicat wouldn't be able to deliver on stage. Now, I didn't know Mimicat as an artist, I didn't know who she was, and hearing a song as ambitious as this one, I was a little bit nervous that she wouldn't be able to, for example, hit the high note or translate a lot of these traditional elements to the stage, but I was very happily proven wrong. Mimicat delivered a fantastic show. I mean, a phenomenal show with some great staging, great choreography, great vocals especially, and even in the semi-final, when I wasn't such a big fan of her outfit and some of the staging choices, she still did a great job, and she took all the criticism that people had for her and turned it into one of the best performances we've seen yet, which she gave in the final. Might I add too that in the semi-final, she was sick, yet still her vocals sounded impeccable. Mimicat is clearly a very talented artist with some amazing vocal range, and I just cannot wait to see how she does in Liverpool. I have no doubt that her vocals will be on point. I just hope they keep a lot of the traditional elements in the staging, as well as that really cool choreography that she had there. I love the way that Mimicat and her dancers played off of each other. It really felt like an ensemble. It felt like I was watching something out of a Broadway show, and that was really cool. So very high hopes for this song in May, and for me, this will get a 10 out of 10. I mean, this is honestly perfection to me. Pretty much everything I want want in a Eurovision song and more. The only thing is, I just feel like my top 5 are a little bit stronger and at least have had a bit more time to grow on me. So with that said, let us move on to my number 5 spot, which is Serbia. For the second year in a row, Serbia is one of my absolute favorites for Eurovision, and it is great to see them sending another creative and out-of-the-box type of song. Constructed last year was definitely a risky choice, and I think it paid off tremendously. I mean, they got top 5 for the first time in a while, and so I wasn't sure if they would try to play it safe this year or do something different again, and I was very happy that Serbia chose to send Luke Black with one of the most creative songs we've seen in Eurovision just in general. I love the staging of the song especially. I mean, this has staging unlike anything we've seen before. It feels like we're in a video game and Luke is kind of breaking out of the Matrix, so to speak, and I thought that was really interesting. I like the way he was able to tell that story so visually too. That just made this stand out a lot to me. The song itself I like too. It is super catchy. I mean, I've had the chorus stuck in my head quite a few times, and that is just a testament to how well the song is produced and composed. And Luke Black is a great performer too. I mean, he was very charismatic on stage. I saw some comments critiquing his vocals, and sure, his vocals were a little bit different. I can definitely see why they were not everyone's cup of tea. For me, that didn't really bother me so much, and I'm the kind of person who really ranks these songs in a lot of cases on their performances more so than the actual lyrics or vocals or song itself or things like that, because I feel like the performance is really what we come to Eurovision for. I mean, we don't come to Eurovision to hear songs on Spotify. We come to Eurovision to see them performed on stage, and that's kind of how I approach a lot of these song rankings, and I felt that that performance more than made up for any vocal quirks that Luke Black had in his performance, which in my opinion kind of added to it as well. So for me, this is going to get a 10 out of 10. And with that, let's move on to my number 4 spot, which is Moldova. It is great to see Pasha Parfeni back in Eurovision on one hand, but also coming back with a song like this is just incredible. The song has a very similar vibe, I feel like, to France's song last year, in that it feels like we're watching a ritual in the middle of the woods, and that is something I like a lot. I also like that the song is sung entirely in Moldovan, and also I love and really appreciate the inclusion of the epic flute guy, which I will only refer to him as from now on, just because that part was so iconic and honestly was probably one of the big things that made this song win over epic sax guy of all people. Pretty much everything in the song honestly is iconic. I mean, those ladies in the background with those antlers on their heads, they look super unique. Those drummers in the background, they are honestly stars of the show too. I feel like everything in this performance, every person, every component just really came together to make this something special, and I just hope they incorporate all of these elements into the show in Liverpool, and hey, maybe even do something a bit different and surprise us. So for me, this is going to get another 10 out of 10. Pasha really outdid himself with this one, and I am just so excited to see Moldova, hopefully, back in the top 10. So with that, let's move on to my number 3 spot, which is Norway. This is Alessandra, Queen of Kings, one of the earlier entries we got this year, and one of the most iconic ones too. This is a fantastic entry from Norway, a great successor to Give That Wolf a Banana, and I just cannot wait to see what Alessandra does on the Eurovision stage. In MGP, she was incredible, had great staging, great vocals, great everything, and I am very optimistic about her chances in Eurovision this year. I feel like if she gives us a show even half as good as the one in MGP, then I think she's a very safe qualifier, and also she did go viral on TikTok, so I'm definitely not worried about her not qualifying, but for me, I just love the song a lot. I mean, this is incredible, those whistle notes towards the end, that Italian she added in the beginning, all of it really came together in MGP, and just so long as she's able to hit a lot of these notes in Liverpool, then yeah, this is definitely going to qualify, and deservedly so. I mean, Alessandra is super talented, a great singer, great artist, and the song just is still one of the ones I listen to today. So for me, Queen of Kings will get another 10 out of 10, and with that, let's move on to my number 2 spot, which is Loreen Tattoo. This is of course Sweden's entry, and what an amazing comeback for Loreen. I mean, I was very surprised to see Loreen coming back for Melfest, and I was a little bit unsure as to how she would do, just considering that in 2017, she tried to come back and was not successful, and I really wasn't sure if she would ever be able to top Euphoria. Do I feel like this song tops Euphoria? Not really, but it is a very good entry in its own right, and honestly, that performance was almost as good as the one she gave in 2012. Loreen is an exceptionally talented artist with a fantastic voice and a really impressive ability to sing while dancing and moving around. I mean, I couldn't do that. I know most people couldn't do that. I mean, a lot of singers struggle with it for sure, and Loreen does it effortlessly. I mean, it was incredible watching her on the Melfest stage. Her vocals were impeccable as she was doing all those movements and dealing with all that staging, and even when she had that stage intruder too, she still gave her all. Loreen honestly deserves such a great result this year. I can definitely see her winning. I mean, she is number 1 in the odds after all, and even though she's not my winner for Eurovision or even for semifinal 1, I still love the song a lot. I still think Loreen is fantastic, and for me, this song will get a 10 out of 10. So with that, let's move on to my number 1 spot, my current winner for semifinal 1, and that is Katia with the song Cha Cha Cha. This is one of my all-around favorite entries. If you don't know, this is my number 2 out of all 37 songs for Eurovision this year. A huge part of that is because the song is so much fun. I mean, it is very upbeat, very different, very dynamic. It keeps you on your toes, and it just doesn't get boring at all, ever. And I think a song like this is super important after everything we've been through. And I mean, it has been a very tough tough past few years for the world, and this song is all about going out there, having fun. And Kardia is just so charismatic too. I mean, have you seen his interviews? He seems like a really humble and fun person to be around, and I think that really comes out on stage. I mean, in that performance in UMK, his personality really came through, and was one of the big things that made this one of my favorites, and also I think a big part of why he completely crushed the televote. For me personally, it is my winner for Semi 1. I think it has something so special, and honestly could be Finland's second win this year. So I'm very optimistic about the song's chances, very happy for Finland, and just really excited to see what Kardia does in Liverpool. For me, Cha 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 will get a 10 out of 10. With that has been my list of my top 10 songs for semifinal 1, all my 10 qualifiers. Let me know if you agree, disagree with this list. I really want to hear what you have to say. And with that, thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help support the channel. And also be sure to check out my new Patreon. All the links will be in the description, so please go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. Once again, thank you all so much. I really appreciate everything. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all next time. Peace.